You know, in real estate, one of the questions that I get most often is, how much is my house worth? We all want to know how much our house is worth. Well, I'm just going to take a minute and explain to you how we come up with that valuation and that price. What we're a lot of times we're tempted to do as homeowners is we're tempted to compare our house to what other houses are listed for in the neighborhood. For example, you may drive around your neighborhood, you'll pick up a flyer, and you'll see, well, that house is listed for 250,000. Well, great. The thing is, that doesn't determine what any house is worth. There's no laws that regulate what you can list your house for. And honestly, a lot of realtors are willing to take listings at higher prices than they should. So the main thing that you need to look at when you want to figure out what your house is worth is, what have houses actually sold for in your subdivision really in the last 3 to 6 months. Obviously, that's important because not only does that give you the most accurate depiction, but also an appraiser. An appraiser is only allowed to go back 3 months when they've tried to figure out how much your home is worth for the bank. So it really does make a big difference. The other thing that you have to watch out for is, well, don't ask your neighbors. If you ask your neighbors, well, what'd you sell your house for? They're probably not going to give you the straight skinny on it. The only way is to look it up in the tax records. Now, you can kind of do this online. Honestly, it's still the best way is the old-fashioned way, and that's to call a realtor. And they can actually find out what a house sold for and if that seller gave any concessions. For example, somebody's house in your neighborhood may have sold for $245,000, but if they paid $7,000 in closing costs, that really brings it down to $238,000. So you could expect, if your home was just like theirs, it may sell for $238,000. Another thing you really have to watch for is square footage. Now, I'm a big believer that price per square foot is not the all-determining factor when it comes to how much your house is worth. And that's simply, if you take the price divided by the square footage, you get price per square foot. The thing is, that's going to vary dramatically within a subdivision, but it does help kind of even things out. So when you look at if their house sold for 245, well, if it had 200 more square feet, that makes an enormous difference. So you need to find out what the square footage is. And the last thing that's very important to consider is just, what kind of upgrades did that house have? How clean was that house? Did they have new carpet, new paint, new appliances, new roof? Those kinds of things add up to getting a higher dollar than if the paint's old, the air conditioning's 10 years old, the roof's 10 years old. All of those things make a very big difference. So if you want to put your house on the market and you want to get an idea of what your house is really worth, the best thing to do is to contact a realtor and ask them what houses have sold for recently in your subdivision. They can easily find that information out, send it to you by email, and that'll get you started heading in the right direction. I hope that helps.